All right, lean in. This is fictional, symbolic, and psychological, not a call to real-world harm. Dark tone, sharp metaphors, power through mindset, not violence. Hey, yeah, you. The one who stayed quiet while the room got loud, the one who felt the air change and knew. Something ugly just got your name attached to it. Listen closely. A gang boss called for blood, and someone slid your name across the table like a death warranty. That's not a threat, that's a revelation, because understand this. Your name doesn't get slid unless it weighs something. Your name doesn't get whispered in dark rooms unless it disturbs sleep. Your name doesn't become a problem unless you've already won something they can't control. See, the world doesn't hunt the harmless, it hunts the anomalies. And tonight, you just found out you're one of them. They didn't call you weak. They didn't call you small. They didn't call you irrelevant. They called you dangerous enough to erase. Let that sink in, because while you were busy doubting yourself, while you were wondering if you mattered, while you were asking the mirror for permission, somewhere else, grown men with power, money, and fear in their bones said, yeah, that one. Deal with that one. That's not fear of what you did. That's fear of what you're becoming. You think villains are born laughing? No, they're forged in moments like this, when the universe looks at you and says, survive or disappear. Most people crumble here. They panic, they beg, they try to explain themselves to people who already decided their fate, but not you. Because chaos doesn't ask for permission. Chaos adapts. And tonight, you don't react, you evolve. Here's the brutal truth they never tell you. When power can't control you, it tries to cancel you. When intimidation doesn't work, it escalates. When your silence no longer protects them, they rewrite the rules and call it necessary. That's why your name hit the table. Not because you're reckless, but because you're unpredictable. And power hates nothing more than a mind it can't calculate. They thought fear would shrink you. But fear, when understood, becomes fuel. Fear sharpens attention. Fear strips illusions. Fear burns away the weak versions of you that were never meant to survive anyway. Right now, you're standing at a psychological crossroads. On one side, the old you. The version that wanted approval. The version that played fair in a rigged game. The version that hoped morality alone would protect them. On the other side, clarity, cold focus, strategic patience, a mind that no longer needs validation from a broken system. And once you cross that line, there's no going back. Let me tell you something dangerous. They don't actually want you gone. They want you afraid. Because fear makes people sloppy. Fear makes people loud. Fear makes people expose themselves. But calm is terrifying. A calm mind under pressure becomes surgical. It observes, it remembers, it waits, and waiting. That's where monsters are made. So don't rage, don't announce, don't posture, smile, not because you're happy, but because you see the board now. You understand that survival isn't about strength. It's about positioning. It's about knowing when to be invisible and when to be unforgettable. They slid your name like a death warranty, thinking the story ends there. But they forgot something. Warranties expire, and legends. They're written by the ones who lived long enough to stop playing defense. From this moment forward, you move differently. You listen more than you speak. You calculate more than you react. You turn pain into discipline and anger into precision. You don't chase revenge. Revenge is noisy. You chase inevitability. Because when you become inevitable, even your enemies start adjusting their behavior around you. One day, not soon, but suddenly, they'll realize the mistake wasn't saying your name. The mistake was saying it too late, because by the time they understood who you really were, you were already untouchable. So stand still for a second. Feel the weight of this moment. This is where ordinary people beg for mercy. And this is where you are born again, not as a victim, not as a hero, but as something far more unsettling. Someone who looked death in the face, laughed softly, and decided, fine, let's see how this story ends. And in that single motion, the universe stopped pretending with you. No warnings, no explanations, no dramatic music, just your name, cold, final, heavy. Do you understand how rare that moment is? Because millions live their entire lives never being important enough to be targeted. They die anonymous. They obey quietly. They vanish politely. But you triggered a reaction. That table wasn't about violence. It was about fear disguised as authority. See, when people feel threatened by strength, they can't dominate. They don't confront it openly. They conspire. They whisper. They hide behind titles, systems, and other people's hands. That's why your name didn't come with a conversation. It came with a verdict, and verdicts are only passed when arguments have already failed. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. They studied you, your restraint, your patience, your silence. They noticed how you didn't explode when provoked, how you didn't beg when cornered, how you didn't need applause to keep moving. And that terrified them, because loud people are predictable, emotional people are controllable. But calm ones are storms pretending to be weather. You see, fear isn't loud when it's real. Real fear is meticulous. Real fear plans. Real fear sends others to do what it's too scared to do itself. That's why they didn't face you directly. They sent the idea of death first, to see if you'd fold. And right now, right here, there are two versions of you fighting for control. One says, "This is unfair. I didn't deserve this." The other says, "Good. Now I know the truth." Because once the illusion of safety dies, clarity is born. You stop wasting time explaining yourself. You stop hoping people will understand. You stop mistaking kindness for protection. You finally see the world as it is, not moral, not just, not balanced, but responsive to power, awareness, and timing. Here's the secret they never teach you. The moment your name becomes a liability to others, it becomes an asset to yourself. Because now, every move matters. Every word carries weight. Every silence becomes intentional. You're no longer drifting. You're navigating hostile territory with eyes wide open. They wanted panic. They wanted desperation. They wanted you to make noise so they could track you. Instead, you choose stillness. Stillness sharpens instinct. Stillness reveals patterns. Stillness turns chaos into data. And data wins wars long before battles begin. You don't need to strike. You don't need to threaten. You don't need to announce anything. Your survival is already a disruption. Your composure is already defiance. Your refusal to collapse is already rewriting the outcome. Understand this clearly. People who move in shadows are terrified of light, but not spotlight. They fear awareness. And the moment you become aware of how the game is played, you stop being prey. You become an unresolved variable, something they can't close, can't predict, can't finish. This is where discipline replaces emotion. You master your reactions. You control your narrative. You detach from outcomes and focus on positioning. You become so calculated that even your enemies can't tell whether you're retreating or setting a trap. Time itself will spring. One day, quietly, you'll notice something shift. The whispers slow. The pressure eases. The threats dissolve into distance. Not because you begged, not because you fought, but because you outlasted their attention span. Predators lose interest when prey doesn't bleed, and when they finally realize you didn't break, that the death warranty didn't cash. It will haunt them more than if you had vanished, because nothing unsettles power more than someone who was supposed to disappear and didn't. So breathe, not in relief, but in readiness. This moment didn't come to end you. It came to strip you, strip illusions, strip weakness, strip the last traces of who you were before you understood the rules. What rises after this won't need approval. It won't need permission. It will move quietly, think deeply, and smile knowingly. They slid your name across the table thinking it was the end of the story. They were wrong. It was the origin scene.